I have found that in life, like in law, generally speaking, the people who are most unwilling to apologize are also the people who are most unwilling to forgive. Viva Frei, Montreal litigator turned YouTuber. It is, I think, week 10 of the lockdown. I am yet again in the car with a kid sleeping behind me, so if you hear some snoring, it's a kid snoring. It's not gas. Trust me.
Definitely not gas.
This is something I've said in previous vlogs, that we live in a day and age when people are reluctant to apologize because apologizing is not seen as a victory of the truth, it is seen as a partisan defeat. We live in a world where everything has been politicized, even apologies. So when someone makes a mistake and if they apologize, that apologize is itself politicized and weaponized against them. The end result is a double negative. People are conditioned to be reluctant to apologize because of the way apologies are weaponized against them, and they are themselves conditioned to weaponize the apologies of others because an eye for an eye. This all came to the fore of my consciousness back with the Covington kids scandal when Philip DeFranco over that weekend tweeted something out to the effect that these kids are the evidence of the hatred that exists in this world. And then when all of the news began trickling out and it became clear that Philip DeFranco's tweet was somewhat incorrect, he refused to apologize for it. He issued an apology to the effect that while I may have gotten certain facts wrong, I stand by my message against hate. To which a great many people rightly responded, that's all fine and well, but that is like executing an innocent person but saying I stand against crime. I did a video on the subject. I'm going to link that video right here if you haven't seen it. Give it a watch. It is about a 9 on 10 on the cringe factor. You have people taking to social media without the slightest second thought about the repercussions of what they're doing. You have Kathy Griffin calling for the doxing and the identification and the sanctioning of these boys. And this is not a left or a right thing. This happens on both sides, and it is the power and the danger of social media. And oddly enough, although it might just be a total coincidence, it was as of that video that I appear to have been shadow banned from the comment section on Philip DeFranco's channel. The reality is that we live in a world where it is all too easy to share incomplete information. There is the urge, the platform, and the reward for sharing outrage, which oftentimes is incomplete information. And the more innocent side of things, we live in a world of rapidly evolving information where something we tweeted out yesterday may not be true today. We live in a world of platforms that allow for this in an environment where people are reluctant to apologize, and that is a terrible combination. Which brings us to the object of this vlog, Jimmy Kimmel.
What is your problem?
Now, full disclosure, I don't watch Jimmy Kimmel. I don't find his humor to be funny. I find his humor to be actually incredibly mean-spirited. I don't watch his show, but I do read the news, and his monologue of May 7th, true to form, made the news for that very reason. In his opening monologue, he poked fun at Mike Pence delivering boxes of PPE, and for anybody who doesn't know what that is, it is personal protective equipment to a hospital. Relying on a clip that was clearly taken out of context, which he played during his monologue, it was Mike Pence making a joke about carrying empty boxes for the camera. Jimmy Kimmel not only promoted and amplified what was incorrect information, he went on to draw an analogy that this was in fact a metaphor for Mike Pence. He is an empty box delivering empty boxes to a hospital. I'm not going to play any of that clip because I don't trust for a second that whoever owns the copyright to that video clip would not make a copy claim on this video. But if you want to watch the clip in its entirety, I'm going to link it right there. Give it a watch. It turns out that the story was factually incorrect. The boxes that Mike Pence was in fact delivering were in fact full of personal protective equipment. Mike Pence made the joke with his staffers. The joke was taken totally out of context and passed off as fact. You know what? I can play the joke itself because the joke itself is not part of Jimmy Kimmel copyrighted material, so check out the clip for yourselves. When there was a bit of an uproar that this was in fact taken out of context and it was misinformation in that Mike Pence did in fact deliver full boxes to the hospitals, there were a number of fact checkers to confirm that Mike Pence did in fact deliver full boxes to the hospitals. And there was mounting pressure for Jimmy Kimmel to correct the misinformation and apologize for the gratuitous insults that he leveled against Mike Pence based on this misinformation. This was something I always used to say to the young lawyers at my office. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes so long as you don't make the same mistake twice. Humans are fallible. They are necessarily going to make mistakes. The only real problematic mistakes are mistakes of judgment. Humans are humans. We get things wrong. We get facts out of context and we don't even appreciate that there is a context that would radically change the nature of that fact itself. Just by way of example, I was on Twitter on Mother's Day and there was this clip of Justin Trudeau circulating because he looked really weird in this particular clip.
Close by asking all the moms to step out of the room for a minute so I can talk to your kids. I'll give you a second. Okay.
Now judge for yourself, but I immediately knew when I saw that clip that people were going to come after Justin Trudeau, Mr. People Kind, for making a gender-based comment like that. And if you don't get the People Kind reference, Justin Trudeau in some town hall where he was taking questions actually corrected one of the people asking the questions because the woman said mankind and Justin Trudeau said we like to say people kind.
Maternal love is the love that's going to change the future of mankind. So we'd like you to look into
We
that.
like to say people kind, not necessarily mankind, because
yeah.
it's more inclusive.
There we go, exactly. Yes, thank you.
The Twitterverse being what it is, I reflexively knew that people were going to go after Justin Trudeau, Mr. People Kind, for making a comment such as, "Mums, could you please leave the room and let me talk to your kids?" And I went to go find the original clip just to get the context to see why exactly he was singling out mums in the room, and sure enough, it was something about Mother's Day, and he said, "Mothers, leave the room," so that he can talk to the kids, and he told the kids, "Tomorrow's Mother's Day, go ahead and celebrate with your mothers and tell them you love them," etc., etc.
I'll give you a second. Okay. Tomorrow is Mother's Day, kids. It's a special day for all the people who are mothers to us, our moms, stepmoms, grandmothers, aunts, and older sisters. So let's show them how much we love and care about them. You might want to get up early to make her breakfast, or ask Dad to help you get her some flowers. Or if you're not together this year because of the virus or other reasons, you can draw her a card or set up a video call. Whatever you do, I'm sure what you'll choose to do will make her day.
Not knowing the context, someone easily could have come out and said, "Justin Trudeau, Mr. People Kind," now presupposing that only mums are raising kids. And if anyone were to have made such an accusation against Justin Trudeau, an apology would be in order, an unequivocal apology. So Jimmy Kimmel comes out and says to his 16+ million subscribers on YouTube that Mike Pence is an empty box delivering empty boxes to a hospital strictly for the photo op. An eviscerating insult based on a falsehood, and I'm saying falsehood and not based on a lie because Jimmy Kimmel probably didn't even know that there was context to that video. People like to throw around the word lie these days. Anytime anyone gets something wrong, they immediately lied, but there is a difference between being wrong and lying. And I have no doubt that Jimmy Kimmel was in fact unaware of the context of that video, and he genuinely thought that Mike Pence was delivering empty boxes for a photo op. Why he had the propensity to believe that probably had something to do with his political bias, but I have no doubt that he believed it nonetheless, and therefore when he said it, it wasn't a lie, it was just misinformation. So typically, the mature, responsible thing to do would be to correct the misinformation and apologize for the insult, right? Well, Jimmy Kimmel did, in fact, apologize, but let's just read his apology. Is there something you want?
Everything I want.
You want a lollipop?
Yeah.
It's right here. Jimmy Kimmel apologized. Let's read his apology. Heck, do you get the wrapper off this thing? It would appear that VP was joking about carrying empty boxes for a staged publicity stunt. The full video reveals that he was carrying full boxes for a staged publicity stunt. My apologies. I know how dearly this administration values the truth.
How did I read that arrow so fast?
Well, you see, when you sleep, time loses all meaning. This is the perpetually moving target of people who are incapable of apologizing because these are the same people who are incapable of forgiving. Faced with the misinformation that he himself promoted, upon which his insult was based, he then shifts the target. Okay, the boxes were full, but it was still for a photo op, and we know how much you value the truth, Mike Pence. The individual who just promoted misinformation to insult someone is now accusing the victim of his insult of doing the exact same thing that he himself just did. Projection is a powerful force. And going full circle, people who are incapable of forgiving are generally incapable of apologizing because they know and expect the other person to weaponize their apology the way they would weaponize someone else's apology. For Jimmy Kimmel to admit that he made a mistake and apologize would be for him to admit that Mike Pence in fact did something useful, helpful, or nice. What the media is calling an apology is in fact nothing of an apology, it's just another insult. This time it's an insult about Mike Pence doing the entire thing for a photo op. Now I think we can probably all agree that to some extent these things are in fact political photo ops. The thing is though, if we're being honest, these photo ops are not just par for the course, they are expected of politicians. And this is where the political confirmation bias kicks in. If Mike Pence does it, it's a photo op. If he doesn't do it, he gets faulted for not doing it. And the thing about these things, even if they are photo ops, they serve a purpose. They encourage, they inspire, they let the people know that the politicians are out there working on the problem. But the inability to admit when one has made a mistake is what separates a child from an adult. Pivoting off your mistake into yet another gratuitous attack is what separates a nice adult from a not nice adult. Part of me wants to say that nobody would have faulted Jimmy Kimmel for just apologizing and acknowledging what Mike Pence in fact did. But another part of me does in fact think that Jimmy Kimmel thinks that there will be people who will fault him if he does give the slightest bit of credit to his political foes. And it is precisely this ideological perspective that makes it virtually impossible to apologize because people no longer perceive apologies to be a victory for the truth, they perceive them to be partisan defeats. It would be a partisan defeat for Jimmy Kimmel to acknowledge that every president under the sun has done similar photo ops and there is something nonetheless encouraging about them to some people. In his mind, it would involve swallowing too much pride, it would provide too much fodder to those who he thinks would weaponize weaponize his apology against him. And so instead he continues to contribute to an environment in which people simply refuse to apologize even when they have made a mistake. I don't think that's a good example to set for someone with Jimmy Kimmel's power because, as they say, I think it's from Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. Alright, and with that said, if you like my videos and you like my content, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, drop a comment in the comment section below because it feeds the algorithm. If you want to support the channel, all of these support links are in the pinned comment. We've got some good merch if anybody's interested, but above all else, be kind, be forgiving, don't be too shy to apologize, and don't be too proud to forgive. And now you know your vlog. Peace out. Booyah!